Hello everyone, Pepper Hernandez from drpepperhernandez.com, coming to you, reading you the throat chakra affirmations. If you're following along with us, I hope that you did well in the last few. And if you'd like to join drpepperhernandez.com, the chakra series, you're more than welcome to. It's an online program that walks you through each and every chakra and goes a little bit deeper than what we do here in a 10-15 minute video. There's also the audio affirmations that's just one after another after another. So if you find these a little difficult because we're reading through them more as question form, then you can go over and use that as a hypnosis. So let's go through the throat chakra. I am able to harness my power to control addictive influences in my life. Think about which influences seem to be addictive, and are you able to control your willpower with them? Okay. I am ready to put my negative habits to one side and openly develop my creativity. Now, negative habits could be self-damaging thoughts. They could be eating incorrectly. They could be knowing that you need to go to the gym but that you don't do it, or being unhealthy in choices of habits as far as work, overworking, underworking, all of those things. So if you're ready to put those habits aside and really open your creativity, this throat chakra one specifically works a lot with the sacral, which your sacral is relationships and creativity, reproductive health, but your energy, right? And your sexuality as well. I substitute love, joy, and creative expressions for old patterns of addiction and abuse. Now, when we hear the word addiction, that doesn't necessarily have to just mean, alcohol, tobacco, drug use, or anything like that. It could also mean being addicted to a particular pattern in relationships, like codependency, or an addiction to unhealthy behavioral patterns, or an addiction to mental thought processes that just spiral and that are just negative self-talk. So which of those vibrate with you, and which of them are you ready to kind of clear out? Because those are all super unhealthy and they definitely block love and joy and creative expression. I'm willingly giving up unhealthy habits to enhance my own creative gifts. Very similar to the first few statements. So are you willing? I hope so. We should be. Love opens the door for me to feel whole and complete. Now, if you've gotten through the heart chakra, then your vibration with love is different than it may have been if you were having a hard time with that word. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel like love, like true, pure, innocent, kind, high vibration love frequency, which is all there is? There's love and there's the resistance to it. I mean, this is pretty much it. It's very black and white. There's no gray on that one. I mean, there's a lot of gray in a lot of our lives, right? But in this particular thing, I don't necessarily know if there is a gray. It's either love or it's not. It's either in alignment or it's not. It's either allowing or it's not. It's either connection or not. Like that's pretty much it. Everything I do is an expression of love. Whew. Now that one, everything I do is an expression of love. Now I think every person, even the gurus of all gurus, or the spiritual leaders of all spiritual leaders, or the practicing of love, Tantra love, I think that one sometimes can be a little tricky because it's all about self-love as well. So am I doing that as an expression to self-love? Do I love myself? Is that an expression of loving myself when I do these things? And some things can be just as simple as saying no to some things that you don't really want to do. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to do this. Now, some people don't have the luxury of doing that because they have a family, or they have a huge group of friends, or they have a lot of people depending on them. So sometimes they have to say yes to things that they might not want to do. But everything I do is an expression of love. So can you shift your focus into making sure that that is an expression of love for you? Can you just shift it just a little bit, right? I was working with a client yesterday, and it was, she was talking about needing more self-love and giving all of her terminology was, I give everything I have to my children. And I asked her to just for a moment reset that dial and say, just take a few moments for meditation. And she was like, well, I don't have time for meditation. I said, no. While you're with your children, take a few moments of meditation and recognize how much they're feeding you. Like, instead of feeding that, allow it to just shift for just a moment to see how much that's feeding you. And if you look into a child's eyes, even if that you've had an intense time with them, if you can look into a child's eyes or a person's eyes or a human being's eyes or an animal's eyes, you can be in that moment of love and receiving that pure love that's coming through them. I trust and love my creative gifts. I'm in hopes that that's an easy one for everyone. Some people who push their creative gifts, and they have a lot of them, sometimes maybe they don't love them as much or trust them as much, but the goal in this affirmation is to be able to say, I love and I trust my creative gifts. We could even add at all times to that. It is now safe for me to express my feelings. How do you feel about that one? That one's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. I feel safe to express my feelings. There are some times where I don't. And so if there are some times where you don't, then that's where you really want to look at, well, is it the other person that's not receiving it? Are you saying your truth? Is it a sweet thing? Is it a kind thing? How can I change that conscious communication around it? Or is it something from the past that's holding you back from really speaking your feelings now because you weren't able to at one point in time? So these are all things to journal about, okay? Now, I don't mean 9 years of therapy and digging into it. I'm just saying get it out on a paper, recognize it, give it its own voice, and then say, I'm ready to change that, and start doing your affirmations. It is now right for me to express the best of who I am. I like that one, because that's very present moment. I release the fear and doubts which block the way to my creative expression. Ooh, I like that one too. How do you guys feel about that? And there may be some fears and doubts that you need to write out. Like, what are my fears about that? What are my doubts about that? That's actually a really good one, and it can be very deep. I am confident in the healing powers of love to open my throat for greater self-expression. Yeah, that one feels good. I hope all of these have felt good for you. If you're getting caught up on any of them, I just encourage you to journal, as well as do the self-hypnosis videos, which are the affirmations that just kind of loop over and over again right before you go to bed or right as you're waking up in the morning, just to reprogram your mind. Work on these for as long as you need. They're always suggested to do at least for a good week, but if you're having trouble in one of the chakras, a 30-day or a 40-day sadhana is a really smart idea, at least for me. So thank you for joining me, Pepper Hernandez from drpepperhernandez.com. I will talk to you for the third eye. That's what's coming up next. So work on these, and the next ones will be easier and easier and easier. And then you can go back through the whole series all over again and just see how much you've progressed and how far you are and how much more in alignment that you are. And then you may want to come back to some of these here and there as you're feeling a little bit out of alignment with them. So that's what these videos are for, is to get you into your highest alignment. So thank you so much. Have a beautiful, magical, wonderful day, and let's make this your very best life ever.